So in several countries around the world, pharmacists are being allowed to help in this fight against COVID by administering vaccines. However, this is not yet the case in Jamaica. Here to explain why, Dr. Winsome Christie, President of the Pharmaceutical Society of Jamaica. Morning, Dr. Christie. Good to have you.
Hi, good morning. Nice to be here. Thank you for having me.
Let me get your overarching kind of high-level snapshot view of what's going on with this pandemic in Jamaica. As a pharmacist, when you sit and you look at what is happening, tell me what your thoughts are.
Well, there's a lot of hesitancy. People are afraid of taking the vaccines. There's a lot of false fake news going around on social media. And sad to say, people believe it more than you telling them and trying to show them facts. So we have a hurdle, and every day new fake news keeps coming up, you know. So as pharmacists, when we sit and see that, because we have been, our role has changed from just counting pills to now, it was always educating. We always did. We educate persons and advocate for public health measures, you know, and we support the government in their initiatives as it relates to health because they control our practice, right? So it's really daunting when we see all of these fake news. But as a society, PSJ is going to be putting on a public forum this afternoon to help address some of these myths. And it's going to be a one-on-one with the public. So we're inviting persons to come and talk and express themselves without fear of reprisal or being thought of as stupid, because at the end of the day, it's your choice whether you want to or you don't want to take the vaccine. And if you don't want to take it, that's your choice. However, we want persons to do so in an educated manner with facts, not based on fiction.
Where is that happening later?
It's going to be on Zoom and also on YouTube. And our able host is one of our esteemed Jamaican journalists, Mr. Vernon Darby. He'll be our moderator.
Okay.
So it's going to be on Zoom and on YouTube, and we'll be sending out those links shortly for everyone to join. So journalists invited to everyone, you know, yes.
You say you have 56 trained pharmacists who are ready to join the frontline fight against COVID. There are some kinks in the legislation or some things being worked out. What is the bugbear? What's in the legislation that's stopping you all now from jumping in, as you say, the PSJ is so willing and able and ready to do?
Well, you have several acts in our laws. For example, the Public Health Act, it speaks to a public health immunizing officer. Pharmacists are not recognized as immunizing officers by that act. You have the Midwives Act, Nurses and Midwives Act, that does not speak to pharmacists immunizing. You have the Medical Act that doesn't recognize pharmacists either. And then the Pharmacy Act and regulations, which do control our practice more than the others. It does not really speak to pharmacists immunizing. However, if that were to be the case, we would have to be trained, and also there would have to be guidelines and protocols that would guide us as we practice. So we have fulfilled one part of that in that we are trained, and we have two ways in which persons can be trained. They can use a fully online course that the California Pharmacists Association offers in association with the American Pharmacists Association, or they can use the one that PSJ offers with its trainers, also in association with the American Pharmacy Association. So we have the training and everything, but we need legislation because you can't do things illegally. You have to do things according to law.
Well, based on that then, Doc, we have a little while to wait. I mean, you folks won't be able to help us in this fight for a little while, because anything that takes legislative changes, unless there's some emergency provision, is going to take a little while, no?
Well, I do understand that the minister and his team are working avidly to try and get some form of legislation in place so that we can do so. And in fact, I understand that he'll be doing so within the public sector, since that will be more structured and facilitate their agenda at this time. So if that does happen, then pharmacists are willing, even if they're privately trained, to offer their services there. I would be willing to go to do that. And I know other pharmacists are. We are quite humanitarian in our actions.
Yeah. Okay, we have to wrap it up because we have to head to news. What do you want to say to Jamaicans who are watching, who feel like, you know, if they start to feel ill, they can come and stock up at whatever you have in your pharmacy and all will be well, or stocking up and taking some things that are very controversial and haven't been proven? What do you want to say to them?
Well, you know, I know you're probably referring to herbs and supplements. There are a lot of studies going on right now that show that supplements do reduce the risk of contracting the COVID-19 vaccine. And if you do contract it, the symptoms are lessened. There was a study done, an observational study done with about 370,000 persons in the UK who had the COVID disease. And they found that the use of probiotics, fish oil, multivitamins or vitamin D did lower the risk of infection and reduce the severity of the infection. And also the loss of taste and smell was reduced somewhat when they were taking the supplements. However, the vaccine is really the best thing to be taking. I have taken it and I still take my herbs and supplements. I took them before, I took my paracetamol before I got the injection, I took it after. And, you know, I think the forum is the best thing to come to, because then you'll understand everything and you'll be less afraid of the whole process.
Okay, thank you. I was not talking about herbs and supplements at all, because let me tell you, I'm guzzling my supplements every day.
Okay.
And I too am fully vaxxed. Thank you very much for that advice. Folks, if you're watching, please listen to what Doc has said. Your vitamins are critical. D.
Eating properly, good nutrition and rest and exercise.
Gotcha.
And of course, masking up and hand washing, sanitizing, distancing, those are all part of it. Everything works together. It's an integrated approach.
Okay, we have to go. We thank you for that, for your wise counsel this morning. President of the Pharmaceutical Society of Jamaica, Dr. Winsome Christie. We have more on Smile when we come back from Studio B. Newzo next.